Alright guys, here we go with our double number line diagram video. So we're going to do two examples here today. Our learning target for today is students can represent a ratio table as a double number line diagram. So that's our learning target. How can we take that diagram or that ratio table and then convert it into a double number line diagram? It's going to be pretty simple, and it's just another visual for you to look at and use and help us answer some questions that we're going to do in our second example. Okay, if you need to pause, go ahead. Otherwise, I'll be moving on. Okay, in example number one, we're just going to create a double number line diagram. Very simple. Here's my chart. So we have ounces and grams of sugar. So our situation is how many ounces are in a, or how many grams of sugar are in a can of pop. Okay, depending on the ounces. So maybe not a can, but in this many ounces of pop. That's how many grams of sugar are in just a generic pop. Okay, just to give you some idea. So we can go ahead and write down that table. I'm going to slide down so that we can make our number line underneath. So to make your double number line, guys, what you're going to do is you're going to have two number lines. So I'm going to have a number line on the top and then a number line on the bottom. Alright, I'm going to start at 0. So I'm always going to have 0, 0. And then I'm going to label what I have. So I'm going to have ounces here and grams of sugar on the bottom. So you always want to make sure you're labeling your lines so you know what is what. And what you're basically going to do is when you make your next tick mark that's going to go through both lines, you're going to write the information in the first box here. So this is going to be 6, and that'll be to 20. Then we evenly space it out because these are evenly spaced out, so the best of our ability, the gaps between them should be the same. That's going to be 12 and 40. It's going to be 18, 60. There we go, 24 and 80. Okay, we can always continue our lines if we need to. It's going to be 30 and 100. Our next one would be 36 and 120. So you can see that we're going by 6s on top. 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. So those are all gaps of 6s. And the bottom we're going by 20s. I could continue. That's all I would need to do. But I could continue with my next one if I wanted to. If I had a next one, okay, that would be 42. And that would be 140. Okay, and there's my double number line, and that's all that you have to do in your double number line is take your chart that I give you and then recreate it. Okay, if you have any questions or if you need to stop, go ahead and stop. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to the next video. Okay, in our next situation here, we have this example 2, which is finding the parts of a double number line diagram. So now we're going to read the double number line. Instead of just drawing it, we're going to read it and see if we can figure out the information based on a double number line. I'm basically using the same ratio table we had before. Here's a question I want to answer. A school cafeteria only allows 25 grams of sugar in a drink. What is the largest size cola they could offer? So I have my double number line drawn. I can have my ounces on the top and I have my grams of sugar on the bottom. And now I want to know, what if it's 25 grams? Well, when I look at my double number line, guys, there is no 25. So it's going to take a couple steps. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down so I have room to work below. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place the 25 grams of sugar on the bottom. That's going to be 25. Now I have to think about what does that represent in the space between the 20 and the 40. So it would be 25, 30, 35. Okay, that's how I would count. I was counting by 5s, and the next one would be 40. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4 sections that the 25 is. Okay, so that means that that is 1/4 of that section. 25 is 1/4 of the section between 20 and 40. You just count. So I went by 5s, 20, 25, 30, 35. So I'm just counting, and then I see how many sections there are. So this 9 right here is my 25. So I'm going to draw my double number line. I have to now figure out what is 1/4 of the top section. So to figure that out, all I do is I figure out the gap between there, which is 6. 12 minus 6 is 6. So that is a gap of 6. Okay? Oops. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to multiply the 1/4 times the gap on the top. That's 6 over 1. Okay? When you multiply, remember you multiply across. 1 times 6 is 6. 4 times 1 is 4. You can simplify that by dividing them both by 2. You get 3 over 2, and then you turn that into a mixed number. 2 goes into 3 once, with 1 left over. so that's 1.5. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, that means that this space is 1.5 away from the 6. So to find your final answer, then I would take the 6, and this is 1.5 away, so I would do 6 plus 1.5, which is 7.5 ounces. And that is where this is. 6 plus the 1.5. 6 plus 1.5 means that this represents 7.5. Okay, and that is how you find your answer for that. So you first have to find put the number and find out what section that is. That was 1/4. Second, I find the gap of the other section, which was 6, so that was 6 over 1. Multiply them, and then you just add that amount to the number where that section started from. Okay, that's all I have for tonight. So if you need to go and rewind anything, go ahead. Otherwise, I will talk to you guys tomorrow.